You are now tuned in to the STL Bucket List show. This show is supported by stlouisarts.org, your place to explore everything that makes St. Louis so special, creative, and vibrant. From music, theater, festivals, galleries, comedy, and more, head over to stlouisarts.org to find your vibe today.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune into the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
Ladies, gents, Tecovas Boots and Western Goods are coming to St. Louis, and you're invited to their grand opening event Friday, September 29th and Saturday, September 30th at Plaza Frontneck. They'll have live music, free drinks, and swag bags all weekend long. Stop by, grab a cold one, and let their knowledgeable staff get you fitted and acquainted with a mighty comfortable, handcrafted pair of boots that you'll enjoy for years to come. September 29th and 30th at Plaza Frontneck. Tecovas, don't go gently. We'll see y'all there.
What's up, St. Louis? Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 82 of the STL Bucket List Show. I'm your host, Marissa Farrell.
I am your other host, Lucas Farrell, and we couldn't do the show without you guys that listen each and every week and really just support St. Louis. Let us highlight the people, places, and events that make this city special. Shout out to our friends over at Four Hands, over at the Wine and Cheese Place as well, with 5 St. Louis area locations. But we got a very special guest today.
Yes.
MLS Allstar has his own beer can in the city. If you guys haven't guessed already, we got Tim Parker in the studio. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
So
you are really one of the hottest athletes in the entire city. So thank you for making time to come on here. And you're a new dad as well.
Yeah, busy times.
New dad.
Like new dad.
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We got the 2-week-old. And shout out to your wife, Kelsey, for popping out to the studio as well. So before we get into it, we always like to ask our guests a little bit about their childhood, a little bit about growing up. So I know you're from the Upper East. So
I'm from the Northeast. I grew up in New York, Long Island. So,
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool place to grow up, if I'm being honest. You get all 4 seasons, beach in the summer, snow in the winter. My whole family is basically from New York, so scattered around. My mom and dad grew up in like the Bronx area and then moved out to Long Island when for work, and then had my older brother and I. So my brother's about 18 months older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
He still lives back in New York. He's a teacher as well.
Oh,
back
cool.
in New York.
What's he teach?
He teaches English.
Oh, that's what I teach.
There you go.
I love
There you go.
that. Shout out to the English teachers. Nice.
shout out to Mr. Parker.
And then played soccer when he started playing soccer. So I think I want to say like when he was 3, he was allowed to start playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Then my parents kind of just signed me up for it.
That's cool.
Almost as a way, I think, to just get both of us out of their hands at the same time.
Yeah, run the energy out. 2 boys, close in age. It's like, go run amok.
Exactly.
Go.
So did you always, when did you fall in love with soccer? Was that later down the road? Were you guys playing together for a while, or did you kind of just take over and he found other interests?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Soccer was never anything that like my family did. Mm-hmm. Like my dad was a football player growing up. My mom, bless her, but she's definitely not an athlete.
Shout out moms.
Yeah.
She's got other talents.
Exactly. So soccer was kind of the first thing we could do. And then I just always stuck with it. I started playing lacrosse when I was young too. That's a big Long Island sport. So that you start playing when you're in like 2nd, 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. And those were kind of my 2 like sport loves. Mm-hmm. And when it came down to making a decision of what I wanted to play in college, lacrosse recruits earlier than soccer does. Mm-hmm. So I was getting recruited for lacrosse to some good schools, but I wanted to see what my soccer opportunities were. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what ended up pushing me to pursue soccer.
Sure.
But I never really thought it would get to the level that it's at now, no.
So with lacrosse, how old do they start recruiting?
So it's a full year. Now it's all different.
Okay.
But when I was getting recruited, I was getting recruited in like 10th grade.
Oh, yeah.
And then soccer didn't start till you were junior.
Okay.
So it was basically a full year earlier where I was like basically telling some lacrosse schools like, look, I'm not sure. I want to see what my soccer opportunities are. Right. And it kind of, at that point, I basically put all my eggs
in
in
a
one
basket.
basket into soccer.
And soccer's a spring sport in high school, right? Or
For boys?
Soccer is fall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Lacrosse
for
is
girls.
spring.
Girls at spring, typically.
Yeah, lacrosse wasn't big in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And now it is. Now a lot of private schools. And
Yeah.
a lot
My
of, like,
school has it actually, which like was shocking because we're a
we didn't
public
have
school.
it back in high school.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't at our
Yeah.
public school, but mine does at Parkway Central. We have lacrosse, and I was like, we have lacrosse? Like a lot of my female students play it, and I'm like, that's interesting.
So you went to college. So like you said, you didn't expect. So some guys are phenoms. They're like, I know I'm going to go
Yeah.
somewhere with
Yeah,
this. Like
absolutely.
you just wanted to go get to college and just play soccer. Like when was there a moment where you knew that you had a shot? I mean, was that later in your career?
Yeah. So first off, my dad really wanted me to go to it was basically my final decisions were like Villanova, Yale, and then St. John's University.
Yeah.
And my dad's one of his buddies went to Villanova and did well in the business world. So my dad's like, you got to go to Villanova. Porky went to Villanova. You got to go to Villanova. And I was like, Dad, they're just not good at soccer. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be fun for me there.
Right.
And it wasn't necessarily about soccer for me either, but I was like, can I get the best of both? And St. John's at the time was really good. It was close to home. I could capitalize on being close to my family, getting good soccer, and go to the business school with then close ties to Manhattan. So I was like, look, if soccer doesn't work out, then I'll
I'm
just
right here.
work in Manhattan
Yes.
with the close ties, the alumni network, all of that.
And my family right here.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my game plan. And then basically after my freshman season, the coaches kind of came up to me afterwards and they were like, look, we're going to put you basically course load you to graduate in 3.5 years that when your senior season is over, you can go into the MLS draft.
Wow, crazy.
And you were like, wait, the MLS? You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And, well,
like big
and that-
picture things.
Yeah, it was big picture. And then obviously my dad was just like, are you guys sure you want to course load him? Can he handle it? And I was like, Dad, it's okay. I'll be able to take summer and winter because at the same time, since it was close to home, I could go home for winter break, but then go back and forth for class or then the same with the summer.
Yep.
So were you, so when they told you that, you're like, okay, I'm doing all these courses, your whole life revolved around school and soccer. Was there that was it, it was just crazy.
I mean, especially in college, we had such a unique college soccer team, just guys from all over the place. And a lot of them I'm still really close with now. But yeah, it was just really soccer was 7 a.m. in the morning. Then you went to class and then it was kind of just repeat, especially when it was in college. And then before that, high school was pretty much the same thing. I mean, I always joke around and my friends from home always like to give me stick about it because I've missed so many birthdays, weddings, engagements, is all this stuff. And they're always like, yeah, Tim, how's soccer going? And I'm like, yeah, I got to work this weekend. And they're like, shut up. And I'm like, look,
it is.
look, I'm humbly joking with my best friends from home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, look, I miss you guys and being able to go to those things with you guys.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we were just talking off air before about how long your season is and it doesn't ever stop. I mean, you're always training. And now being a dad and being a husband and all these different things,
Now
it's
you've got all
still, you
these
still have to work.
factors.
It is now it's go to work this
the
weekend.
responsibilities are
You're still
real.
playing a game, but at the end of the day, you're 30, it's your job, it's your career. So that moment you got drafted, let's talk about that because that is a moment that not many people get to experience. All of us go through life and, you get promoted, you get the thing, you do this, you get the thing, but you don't get that moment like that phone call. Is it a phone call moment like the NFL draft?
So
do you walk over a podium? That's what I want.
You do. So when, I hate saying this, but when I got drafted, it's I'm looking back into the past, but it was different when I got drafted to then what it is nowadays. But yeah, when I got drafted, I didn't want to go to the draft.
Okay.
I wanted to have a draft party in my hometown.
Where you put the hat on.
At a local bar.
Yeah,
a
just
local
the watch
bar,
party.
With
but
your people.
with my friends and family. But the league actually told me I had to go to the draft.
Oh, okay.
So then, and the draft was in Philly, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when they called my name, or, you're sitting in the chair, and my agent wasn't there with me, but I'm sitting with my mom, my dad, and my brother. And I'm sitting in the chair, and my agent's texting me oh, they're gonna take you, and then somehow that team didn't take me. And then I'm like, okay, what now? And he's like, oh, maybe this pick. So now it's this pick, and I'm sitting there, and they take like the team takes a timeout.
Yeah.
And my agent texts me, he goes, "Uh-oh, I think they're trading the pick away. Maybe someone else is trying to grab you, whatever." And then Vancouver ended up drafting me. But it was a long like little period. And then from there you basically black out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, they pick
for
where you're
real.
going to live and work. So
Yeah.
you have no choice.
Yeah,
You're like,
so-
Vancouver picked me, I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my dad literally pulls up right away like a map and he just goes, "You went to the farthest place you could have gone." And it's funny, like I still have a relationship with my coach in Vancouver. So when I first got drafted, I was like, "So like that timeout you took, were you gonna like trade me away?" And he was like, "Yeah, we were kind of thinking about." I was like,
Wow.
So it's funny.
They
It's
have to
funny to
remove
look
the
back.
person from
Yeah,
it.
it's
because
funny to look back on.
It's the career. What year was that?
2015.
2015.
Yeah, so I was interested to know because you went to college,
Yes.
and you had this plan of pursuing business.
Yeah.
But was that like your comfort backup plan just in case soccer didn't work out, or were you like really serious about pursuing business for yourself?
That was probably my first plan.
Okay.
Just because, so I had been involved with like U.S. youth national teams, but hadn't been called in since I was probably like 16. So I was like, okay, maybe professional, like maybe I'm not good enough for professional, but I'm good enough for college. And then, like I said, I was going to set like the stepping stones to basically try to jump into Manhattan.
Sure.
And they love like Formula athletes and like
Exactly.
being an athlete in college. Like, I know you just got work ethic. And,
Yeah. So I was hoping that was going to be the stepping stone.
Okay.
And then soccer came
Yeah.
up.
And then soccer
you're in Canada.
Soccer
So-
came in hot,
Very
and I
nice.
So
was moving to the country.
2015, you're in Canada. But I want to kind of fast forward a little bit through your career. I know you've played in Houston, New York, which was probably big.
Yeah.
Actually, let's talk about New York. When you got traded, did you sign to New York?
Yeah. So I got traded to New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a story within itself, but it was basically one of those things where a trade was looming for a while and it just hadn't gotten pushed over the line. So when it finally got pushed over the line, I was telling all my friends back home, it was basically either New York or like DC. And obviously they were all pushing for New York.
Of course.
Very, very hard. So I remember waking up to the phone call the day I got traded and just blasting like Frank Sinatra in my apartment in Vancouver. Yeah, about going back to New York.
Get that Empire State of Mind too.
Going
Get
home.
that Jay-Z
Going home.
Yeah.
So then you went back and like that was when you got to see your friends more. You got to see your family. Everybody was at the games. Like,
Yes.
the energy was just
Oh,
different
I
there.
believe
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it was such a cool time to be home. After being away for a little bit of time and then coming back, just being able to see like family whenever I wanted. It was really special. Like I have a huge Irish like family back in New York, so like every like off day, it was like someone's birthday or someone was having a pool like my cousin was having people over for the pool, and it was like one of those things where some off days I was like, oh, this is great, and some off days I was like, I don't really want to go this
Yeah.
time.
I can't eat. I can't drink anymore. Jen.
Exactly.
I can't drink anymore.
I just want a
Exactly.
day for myself.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like
If I know
at
anything
a
about
point-
Irish families, y'all were drinking too.
at a point it was like beyond amazing.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point at the same time I was like, I don't want to go to my cousin's birthday this
Totally.
time.
But when you're in like a different city, you have that like built in, like, hey, I'm out here. I'll fly back for the important stuff if I have
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
But the parties
you
every weekend.
can.
That's like our family. It's like every
I was
Saturday
gonna
we
say
have
we
something.
relate to that. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, like again, love you guys, but we're like,
Can't
damn,
we
I'm
started
talking-
combining the birthdays, so it's like 6 people in 1 month, and then
like,
we'll do it all in
whose
one day.
birthdays are September? All right, just one big party, but it does. It gets exhausting. But
So I read a little bit about your experience getting traded to St. Louis, and you probably, St. Louis is a club team. It was a new team. And you were on a trip
Brand
when you got
new.
the call. So
Yeah.
tell everybody that doesn't know the story a little bit about how that moment you got traded to STL City and like some of those emotions you were going through.
Yeah, so I was on my bachelor party.
cool. Where were you guys?
We were in Memphis,
Okay.
Tennessee.
Yes.
So my bachelor party, we did Memphis, Tennessee, and then we went to the Ole Miss Alabama game last year.
No dope.
Good times.
And it was awesome. But Friday morning or Friday mid-morning, I got the call that I basically got traded. And so prior history is I played with or under Brad in New York. So I had some kind of an inkling that this was a possibility, but I wasn't throwing it out into the universe because if you throw something like that into the universe, usually it happens.
Yep.
That's facts.
But I had said it to Kelsey before. And then obviously, so I'm on my bachelor party, I get the phone call, and then I was like out getting breakfast or something. So now I'm going back to the house, and I basically tell like all the guys that I'm with, I'm like, guys, I just got traded. I need to go up and sit in the room for a little bit and like process this and call Kelsey and tell her. And obviously, you know, you call your wife on your bachelor party and you go, I have bad news. And she goes, what happened?
Yeah, of course. I know the
Right?
timing,
So, like,
the setting.
We're moving to St. Louis.
The timing of
But
it.
right.
So
Yeah,
like
facts.
basically, yeah. So basically I'm then like, I got traded to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay, have fun. We'll talk when you get back. And I was like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like just like, you know, the
Process.
how to process it.
Yeah.
But then then I got on the phone with Brad, Brad and Lutz, and had a really good conversation with them. You know, and I think ever since that day, it's been a blessing to be here for sure.
Yeah. What was that first moment like when you got here? Like, did you like immediately kind of like love this city, or did it take a little bit to get warm to you?
I think it took a little bit of time,
Yeah.
naturally, but I'd say it didn't take that long. You know, I think obviously seeing the stadium, the training grounds, and then our first home game is kind of what set the stage for what was to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That first home game was lit.
Yeah.
Every home game is lit.
Every home game is awesome, but I think playing in front of a crowd like that where the
Chilly
city,
night.
They were
like,
so excited.
yeah, and everyone talks about St. Louis as a soccer city, and
Yeah.
you know, I heard all those things until I was able to experience it. Was when I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, like, so growing up, I'm not an athlete by any means. No. My siblings played soccer. I had cousins who played soccer. It was just, I never picked it up. But like going to that first game, my first game, which was like, it was by spring break. It was a
Yeah.
March game.
We weren't huge fans either until we went to the first game.
I
and
was
now
like,
we're
I gotta go. I am obsessed. The energy the fans have, and plus, like again, like the stadium, they did a beautiful job with
Yes.
it. But also, like you guys were kicking ass, and it was just enjoyable. And like I'm sitting next to this guide, he's high fiving me.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
And the food there is fire,
The
too.
food was good,
Yeah.
but like just
You gotta
the
give that a
energy
chance.
of the fans. I was like, I can't wait to come back to a game. It's
Yeah.
just incredible. The whole experience. It's like if you can do it, do it. Go support.
In the first game, that's when you did the celebration, right? Was that
So
game
that
one?
was in Austin. So that,
Oh,
so
that
I
was the
scored
actual first game.
Yeah, so that's when I scored the first goal.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, of the season.
The whole
that was the first goal of
conversation.
history of the,
Yes.
the team.
Yeah.
And then you
So
did the baby
I
celebration.
did the baby celebration.
So
yeah.
nobody knew.
that.
Yeah,
So
you just did that out of the whim.
Like some close friends and family knew.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, that was kind of the baby announcement.
That's
yeah.
so cute.
So
I love it.
when you did that, like, did you like go back to the locker room and see a text? Like, why'd you do that on TV?
So it was funny. I actually texted her before the game.
Okay.
And usually when we get like on the team bus going to the stadium is when I say like, all right, love you, talk to you after the game.
right, and then you put your phone away. For
And then
like
I put my
3-4
phone,
hours,
like
yeah.
put on music and then
Yeah.
start kind of getting into it. But I don't know why, but for some inkling, and I was like, what if I score? Like, can I do the baby thing? Because to be honest with you, and people that don't know my career is like, I don't really score that many goals.
Yeah.
So like
Now
this
you
year
do.
is kind of an anomaly,
Yeah.
but
I did look at that and I'm like, yeah, this year's your best.
Yeah.
You got 4 or 5 already this year.
yeah. So I don't know why I texted her that, and then she was like, yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, it's not going to happen, but okay.
Yeah,
And then I was like, all
just
right,
in
I'll talk to you
case.
afterwards. And then, of course, I scored. And like, I remember like the feeling of like the ball going in the net. And then I was like running and I was like, oh my God, I got to grab a ball.
I'm gonna go find the ball.
Yeah.
And then you find the ball and you did the old, like when they used to play
Yeah.
basketball and you like hit it around.
You like spoke it into existence.
But no, that's real. Like for you being like in, I guess this is your 7th professional, your 8th, ninth year, and now like you're scoring more goals. Is
Yeah.
that like, are you getting better with age? Are you getting more experience? Is it that veteran experience, or is it just the confidence you get?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be the confidence, like a little bit of the enjoyment as well. You know, I think I've said it before, but also Kelsey has said it too. Like being in a city that truly embraces the team is it gives the players something special, the family something special. Just as much as we give to the fans, it gives us back. So there's definitely like a newfound love, I'd probably say, for the game again. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's burnout in anything. Even when it is a sport, like it is still your job, and there is burnout in anything. There's burnout with our job. There's burnout with everything, and I think that energy and like the people And like you said, like you come to St. Louis, you do that. And like literally after that moment, like we knew who you were. We were excited about the signing and all that. But then like that moment of the first game, you get the goal and then the baby celebrates. And then you're like an instant like star in St. Louis, the MLS. And I think we like broke records for jersey sales. Like everything's like we're breaking records in St. Louis left and right.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're first in the West is insane because like we're like expansion team. You think of any other sport expansion team, you're like, all right, it's gonna be like 10, 15 years before this
Expectations are not high.
Yeah, like it's just but like I don't know what it is with St. Louis in sports, but like it's all we got.
Obsessed.
It's all we got.
Love them. Yeah. And it is a great way of bringing people together. And I think that's the big thing. Like, obviously, getting the news, like, I'm moving to St. Louis, there might be some of that, like, okay, St. Louis. But, like, really, sports is always, like, it's just a moment that, like, people can join together. And, like, you guys are giving that to the city. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely been cool. And it's one of those things, too, like, when my wife and I moved from New York to Houston, we kind of talked about, we were like, it's cool to live in different cities while we're young, like before we like start a big family or before we like, lay down our roots somewhere. Yeah. And then obviously moving here too, it was like, well, we never thought about moving to St. Louis in any way. We're like, it's just another place to go and explore and have fun at. So
and a lot of athletes actually stay here though.
That's what I've heard.
Like David Freese is from here, but like a lot of the baseball players like still live here.
And I've heard a lot of Blues guys too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've heard a
My
lot of the
best
hockey
friend works at Mercy, and she's like, I see Blues players' wives, like I deliver their babies all the time. So it's cool. I want to talk a little bit about Kelsey and like how you guys met and how she serves as like your support system, because it's one thing to have a profession that takes you other places, but when your person who is your home has to go with you, like that's a lot. So what's that like?
Yeah, it's a pretty funny story about how we met. So basically, Kelsey was in grad school in New York she had finished grad school in New York when I moved back. But a buddy from my high school when I moved back was like dating her old roommate. So basically he was like, dude, you should meet my girlfriend's roommate. And I was basically like, no, I just moved back to New York. I don't want to meet anyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to get settled.
I'm trying to like, get my feet back on the ground. But we ended up meeting a couple months later, hit it off from there. But it is funny because our first date, when we met, she was like, what do you do for work? And I told her I played soccer. And she was like, no, but what do you like do? Yeah. How do you get paid? Yeah. And I had to explain to her that I actually can get paid to play soccer. So that's the extent of her soccer knowledge right there.
She's like, not your hobby, but like your job.
But yeah. And I think for me, the most refreshing thing about our relationship is that it's not necessarily soccer based. So I can separate work and home. So anything that goes on soccer wise that I find the need to tell her might not always make the most sense to her, but she can kind of be a little bit of a vent for me and kind of soak it all in and give me a little bit of feedback coming back. But it is really nice being able to separate like almost work and home, because when I get home, it's just it's family life instead of talking about soccer all the time.
Debrief. You debrief and you're just chill and you're just like enjoying your time a little bit more differently.
It's important. And I think we have a little bit of that too. Like, although we do work together, sometimes like she has her thing, I have my thing. And like sometimes like on Fridays, like I'll just like be exhausted from the week and just sit down and I'm like, we don't want to talk tonight. Yeah.
We just chill. We're like, what are we watching or eating for dinner?
Yeah. Like we're going to like you guys too. Like we're just like, where can we go to eat tonight and just sit and experience something or go to something. But now you guys are going through an experience that we're also going through right now. So tell us, I mean, you're 2 weeks in, fresh dad. So it's a whole new ball game now. It's not like the early 20s when you're going to the games and going out with the boys. All the other boys on the team are going out somewhere and you're going straight home now.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there was definitely a little piece of me that, was still asking Kelsey after games when she was still pregnant. I was like, can I go out before the baby comes, basically, like I was like, I need these last couple of runouts.
Just let me know if it's cool. If it's not cool, I'll come home.
But yeah, I mean, it's a completely different experience. I mean, the way you go from like your day-to-day work, like I used to go to training, somewhat early to take care of my body and then stay after, play ping pong, cards with the guys, take my time eating lunch, have a coffee, And now I'm like getting there basically the same time to take care of myself. But then after training, I'm like, lunch, go home, baby.
Yeah.
Instead of like, leisurely taking my time, because in the past, Kelsey was obviously now she's on leave, but she was working. So I was like, I don't have to get home, because if I get home, she's working and I just basically annoy her.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to stay away.
Sure.
But now I'm like rushing to get home.
No, that is
How can I help?
Yeah,
What do you need?
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, happy hour after work, or oh, this guy wants to do a meeting at 6 p.m. It's like, normally I'd be like, yeah, that's fine, let's meet, whatever.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that it's just, and if anything, it just makes you focus more on, getting your stuff done and being more efficient on what you're doing. But yeah, I'll be watching those YouTube. Send those links.
Yeah, send the YouTube
See if I need to
videos.
look
We're
at
not
your-
reading, but we can watch
Yeah,
videos.
multitasking becomes
We're
a
not
real
reading.
quick
Do a lot of other
talent.
guys on the team have kids, or not as much? There's a
No,
lot of young
not
guys on the team.
Yeah, everyone's so young. So
Yeah.
I think I'm the third or fourth guy with kids now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's only like 4 of us that have kids.
small.
Yeah. So it's
A lot of
pretty
young energy on that team. There's like a lot of like 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, there's a lot of young guys.
18-year-old kid, high
Yeah.
schooler. There's a high schooler on
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a beast
That's
too.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Well, congrats on fatherhood and
Thank
your
you.
family. It's an
Yeah.
exciting time.
So
Thank
you have a contract through when here? Just
I'm through contract next year.
next year.
So this year and next year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the normal longevity of like soccer careers? Like, it just depends, I guess, really. But
Yeah, I
it's-
guess it depends. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are some guys that play into their mid 30s.
Yeah.
Like early third. Yeah, I'd say probably like around like mid 30s is probably what most guys aspire to.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So do you, like, you mentioned college and like business and all that. So like, I know that there's also like, you're not just going to retire and stop working. Like, you're going
Yeah,
to do
so-
something else. Do you have,
So it's
do you
like-
have any plans of what you want to do after the sport?
So it's funny. I'm actually getting my MBA right
Nice.
now. So on top of being a father, I'm also in school, which
Busy.
I like.
busy.
I like to just jam it all in at once.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I think getting my MBA was something that I looked into doing during COVID, and it just was, the pieces weren't all together for me. And then the MLS Players Association basically partnered with University of Indiana.
Okay.
So when they partnered with the University of Indiana is when I was like, okay, now this is something I can pursue. And it's completely online. It makes it way easier, obviously, for me. But it is challenging, but it is also cool, because I do think after soccer, I want to be involved in the business world to some degree. I know I don't necessarily want to be a professional coach by any means. I don't mind being around the game of soccer, but I don't want to be coaching it.
Got it.
Right. You
Cool.
don't want that grind of being a coach, and it's just it's
exactly.
crazy. Shout out to the coaches though. I mean,
That's
it's
cool though, to have like a separation aspect of like on a business path.
Yeah. Yeah.
What specifically like interests you in business?
So that's the thing, is like, that's part of why I decided to go back to get my MBA.
Yeah.
Was to kind of fine tune what would truly interest me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like a dream job would be to work in like a front office of a sport world.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of be involved in the sport day to day, but you're not
Yes,
there.
yes.
So
Yep.
I think that would be the ideal world.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really quite sure. I'm kind of leaving the path
Figure it
open and
out.
seeing what happens.
How much time do you have left to finish the MBA?
I have like a year and a half.
Okay.
nice.
Or just over a year.
Cool.
Nice.
It'll be so worth it when you're done.
Shout out to the Hoosiers. Yeah. You're like, I've never go there, but I do go there. But
Cool.
that's awesome. So you're in your 9th season and you got that phone call. So how do they select when you become an All-Star? Do they call you? Do they send you an email? Does your agent tell you, or does the team tell you?
So the team tells you.
Okay.
Oh,
So one of the team
cool.
PR reps will come and say.
So it was actually in a team meeting.
Okay.
It was in a team meeting. We were doing video before like one of the games, and Brad basically announced that Roman and I were going to be All-Stars this year.
Yeah. How did that feel?
It was really.
Did you see it coming a little bit?
I didn't really see it coming. I mean, I knew some people that were asking me if I thought it was possible. And I'm not going to lie, I thought it was, just because of the year we've been having.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that was on my career checklist. I think being an All-Star, winning trophies as a team is obviously first and foremost, but in my MLS career, it was something that I wanted to be able to check off.
You checked it off.
Yeah.
Off your
Yeah,
bucket list.
yeah.
off your bucket list.
Thank
No,
you.
but that is, I mean, it is because there's, I mean, for one, we only had 2 All-Stars, and you're with Roman Berkey, one of the best goalies,
Yeah.
probably the best goalie in the league.
Oh, yeah.
if
I'd
hands
say
down.
so.
And then just all the other stud players that are in the league. But yeah, the MLS is growing, and we just haven't seen it just because it hasn't been in St. Louis. But I'm starting to see it now, and then obviously what they're doing down in Miami is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. Next year is going to be rowdy when he comes to town.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane how much he's been able to bring attention to the league.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing for the league. I think the opportunities to grow are going to be seen so fast. With the World Cup coming in a couple of years, and then obviously Messi being here now, I think everyone especially I think St. Louis has a very big opportunity to continue to grow just because everyone sees what the stadium looks like here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk about a lot of international games that might be played here in the next couple of years with the U.S. especially. They've already played 2.
Yeah.
So
Women's
I
team
think,
played one,
yep,
too.
the women's team played here as well. So I think the league is just going to continue to grow. And I mean, it's really good for everyone involved in the league now and then hopefully for the future too.
When you have like that guest list, like I mean LeBron James at the game,
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
was just nuts. I mean just LeBron in general, but like it was like this huge. I like saw something on Twitter and it was like the people that were going to be at that game.
Yeah.
and I'm like,
That
what?
was the LA game.
Okay,
When
the
they
main
played in LA. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing that too. And I was like, this is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of people would fly to Barcelona or to Paris to see him play.
No.
So like now that he's here and like, I mean, he might've been playing on like a Wednesday night in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
And
how
that's dope.
random is that and then like for the celebrities that are in LA, they're like, oh, we can go see like,
That's the best thing to do today.
yeah, the best player of all time play on a Wednesday night.
I think like a combination of that and then like even TV shows like Ted Lasso and then you have like
Do you watch that?
Ryan.
I did. I watched it. I didn't watch the newest season.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the newest season.
But it's just helping people like modest fans like us that are into sports, like get into these sports. And then like Ryan Reynolds is now into soccer. Like Will Ferrell's been in it for a
Yep.
long time. Like all these people are seeing this opportunity of like, okay, they're business people at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's obviously a business around it, but I think that like you said, it's just the community that you built. So like, tell us a little bit about the team chemistry. Cause I mean, it looks like it's just on fire. Like you guys are just all real close.
yeah, the team chemistry is really good. It's funny because there's so many, obviously, like we kind of said, like there's the age gap isn't that big.
Yeah.
But when I talk to like someone that's like 22, it's like
It's a
a
different
huge
stage of
difference.
it's a
life.
huge difference
Yeah.
Stuff
of
that
like
they're
what
doing,
I
you're not
grew
doing.
up watching and what they grow up watching.
Yeah,
right? Or
simple
like
as that.
The music they listen
yeah,
to.
the music they listen to, the things they like quote versus what I would quote.
Yep.
You know, so it's like I'll quote like Step Brothers, and these guys are like, what?
That is so okay. He's looking at me because I was so I was talking to my kids, side note, about how important it is to get someone's name right. And
Yeah.
so like even writing it on paper. So when they have like an essay and they have to write my name, Mrs. Farrell, I'm like, it's Farrell with an A, not Farrell like Will Farrell. And they're like, who? I'm like,
They don't even know who Will
Will
Ferrell is.
Ferrell? Okay.
These
So
high
I told
schoolers.
him this the other day and I was like, Step Brothers? Anyone? No, nothing.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a
Right,
problem.
It's a
It's a
problem.
problem.
I'm like,
Yeah,
y'all
the new
need to get
movies,
hip.
the new music and the new movies, like there's some good new music, obviously, but like we'll be listening to the radio and I'm like, what the?
What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and still, it's like there's like obviously like TikTok,
Right.
everything that's just like coming out is just changing. And like, for me, I'm not like an old school out of touch tech guy, but I don't have TikTok. So like these guys are just talking about like people that are on TikTok or YouTube streamers. And I'm like, what is
I don't pay
going
attention to
on?
any of that. Right.
And then
right.
you feel old and you're like, dude, I'm only 30.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is funny. That's how it is at my office. Like I'm 28 and like people like the
There's
20
just like a weird, I don't know
I
where
think
the line
generations
is,
The
but
divide happens
there's
so
some line
fast.
that I'm like, we are totally disconnected here.
The divide happened.
That's
quick.
Yes.
cool. So being like the old guy in the locker room, like now you're a mentor to people where you used to
Yeah.
have mentors and now, so like how have you taken anybody under your wing a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like there are some guys that'll look to me for like advice. I don't want to say like I'm like wrapping my arm around guys and like being like, oh, you're my protege, because
Yes.
like I'm not ready to give everyone my secrets, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think that there is something to being like in this league for so long and being able to pass on some of that knowledge and whatnot.
Yeah, no,
Amazing.
absolutely. So it is the STL Bucket List show.
Ask
We like to ask our guests. I saw you had a list on your phone you told me about, but like tell us about some of those spots in town that you like going to.
Yeah.
I know you know where you guys live, you got a couple spots, but just when you bring people in town, like I guess when somebody comes in, like what restaurants are you taking them to? Like what are some date night spots?
And you're not from here. So
Yes.
like when you knew you were like bucket list really for you could be like when you knew you were moving here, were you like, we got to go to the Arch, we got to go to this, you know, like did you have those?
So Kelsey definitely, to her credit, like does most of the research for when we move or like restaurant places to go. The first place we ever went to was Louis.
Great.
Amazing.
Yes.
We live really, really close to Wright's Tavern, so that's another one. One of our go-tos is Arzola's.
Okay. Yeah, that's the
Where's that?
Mexican spot in
Arzola's,
Benton
in
Park.
Benton Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't had it.
That one's a good one, especially now that Kelsey's not pregnant.
Get those margaritas.
She really wants to go for a marg.
I'll be there with you. Can we do a double date in like 4 months? And you guys can
No,
show me the
margarita-
marks.
We were just talking about margaritas, like the
miss
spicy
them.
one. Come on now.
Yeah, so that'll definitely happen.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of another one. Katie's Pizza.
Yeah.
We liked Katie's Pizza a lot.
That's a great spot.
That's usually where we go when we want to take someone somewhere, just because it's an
Yeah.
easy sit down spot.
yeah, laid
Good
back.
food.
You don't need reservation like way too far and out in advance like you do kind of for like Wright's Tavern or
Yeah.
whatever.
Louis.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to bring more than two. That's like a date night spot. Like It's
Exactly.
really hard to bring a group there.
Yeah. Those are good spots.
No, that's dope. What about like, let's just say like it's, I guess like Saturday, you play every Saturday mostly. So
Yeah.
I was going to say like, what's a Saturday look like when you have nothing to do and you guys are going somewhere? Like, are you going to coffee shops? and-
Hypothetically.
Yeah. So usually we'll like now it looks a little different, but prior to Rory coming into our lives, we would usually go and grab like coffee in the morning. She would probably go for like a longer walk, and then I'd walk the dog in the morning. We'd go to grab coffee. She'd go for a little bit of a longer walk, and then if she was up for it, she'd probably do a couple of errands. But usually I kind of just
Chill.
lounge out on the couch
Because you don't get
yeah.
to. I get it.
Like zone in and out. Now it's like it changes now when football season starts.
Yeah.
Saturdays I'm just like watching college football all day until my game, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's such a good time killer for me.
Yeah.
To be able to just kind of like fall.
And
I
not get
get
those
it.
jitters
In and
before
out
the
of it.
game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you
I
get
get
jitters,
it.
but when I used to play sports, like for a night game, I would just be thinking about it all day, and I'd be like stretching and like just like football. Are you a college football guy or NFL guy?
I like both.
Okay.
I like both, but Saturdays like
Before games.
yeah,
the
Saturdays are just college football, so I can just sit there.
Are you a
and-
fantasy football guy too?
Yeah, big time. But
So
like
if you could have it your way, would you waste Saturday and Sunday watching all day?
no, I wouldn't waste both days.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would waste one of them.
Okay.
And then the
Just
other day,
fine.
I would waste it like somewhere watching games at
Yeah.
the same time. NFL is huge with us. Like all my buddies, we get together. They come in town. We'll get an Airbnb. We'll do a big draft. So we just did that a couple weeks ago. But yeah, Sundays are.
extreme.
It is feel
It's
bad when
cool,
you
though.
waste it because I wish it wasn't like from a noon to like 9 p.m.
Right.
Because it is like so much, and then like
I kind of love it because I'm like, this is like an excuse for me to either go to Target or nap or just
Read a book
read
or
all
something.
day, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't buy. And then we eat. We just eat, and
Yeah.
it's nice.
I mean, Kelsey asked me today. She was like, is there any football on today? And I was like, no, why? And she's like, the VMAs are on tonight. And I was like,
that's right.
all right, well, you get the TV tonight.
Yeah. She's like, my night.
It's real. As long as it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, we're good.
Yeah.
You know, we're watching the
That's
games.
hilarious.
But no, that's cool. I mean, I think that, like fantasy, it's just another way to bring guys together. Like, it's like we wouldn't talk to these groups every day. Like, we're all in the group talking
Yeah.
shit and stuff, you know, whatever. Like, about players that we don't even know. And like, it's weird. It's weird, but it's fun. It's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, it's so much fun. And it's just like, I don't know. It's for some reason, it's something that like everyone does for whatever it is 4
Right.
months out of the year.
That's right.
I mean, they do it at our school.
I'm in one.
There you go.
I do one. I did it last year. I don't always know what I'm doing. This year, I kind of had a clue. A little bit.
So
setting up
I
my
have
lineup.
a couple more questions, just one more, but like with you guys, having a baby in St. Louis, I mean, do you think this is a place that you guys will probably stay at for a while, or what's the vibe you guys are having?
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I think we've really, really enjoyed our time up to now in St. Louis. Not just soccer wise,
Yeah.
I think just life wise in general. I always said, so my wife is from Florida originally, but I've always liked having 4 seasons. So
Right.
St. Louis fits that mold for me as well. So I'm really hoping that something happens contract wise that can tie me down here for a couple of years. And Yeah, that's really what I'm hoping for.
That would be awesome. Yeah, you did mention that at the beginning when you were saying how you love the seasons in New York. I'm like, we have them.
Yeah.
We have them. And like, again, even the winters, I don't mind that. Like, I kind of love being bundled
Layered up.
inside. Yes, like it's not bad.
The summers that were hot this year, though, it was rough. You guys were playing out there in those.
Yeah. The worst one was that Austin game.
Yeah.
Was really bad.
Yeah.
But like I said, we came from Houston, so it was like
You're used to it.
I mean, not necessarily. You're used to it to some degree.
It's a different type of.
But at least it's not 100 degrees in like September.
Yep.
You know, once you kind of hit
beautiful.
once you hit that turn, it's really nice. Where the Texas summers were basically 6 months.
Yeah.
Compared to
what we
You
have.
didn't get any
3,
snow down
4.
there either.
No, I mean it's Christmas Day. You can be in your swimming pool down in Texas.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's just not.
It's
not
different.
That
It doesn't feel like
no,
Christmas.
no.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Christmas.
Wow.
That is crazy. So you mentioned something off air before we started talking, but you said like St. Louis's food scene is pretty good. I know you're from New York, so it doesn't match up to New York City. We know that.
It's
Or does it?
It is impressive. I mean, I think that was one of our biggest worries was when we were moving here. We were like, is the food going to be good? And then I heard a friend of mine is from St. Louis, so he told me about the Hill.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it's the Italian neighborhood. And I was like, all right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Because I'm very like,
Yeah, you
like
got Little
growing up in
Italy
New
up
York,
there.
like
Yeah.
I'm very like, me and Kelsey really enjoy Italian food. So I was like, all right, we'll see if it's actually good. And I mean, we've been, like I said, we've been blown away. Like
Good.
a lot of the restaurants we've gone to, we've gone back, which we've really enjoyed. And like I said, the Italian food is good. Then we've spoken about a couple of other places. There's still places on our list that we have to try. So
Yep.
Yeah.
We can give you some.
still branching out.
We know things. Okay, but the real question to end with: have you had a toasted Rav? Have you had a
Yes.
T-Rav?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Of course.
Thoughts?
Yeah.
Great.
They're good.
Okay,
They are
okay.
good. They are
Yeah,
good.
The toasted Rav, 100%.
It depends where you
Yes.
get it. Truly, like it does depend. I like them. I like them a lot. But
We've had them after games from time to
Really?
time.
The
The toasted Rav popped off because you guys had the ravioli game.
Yes.
Which was like, it was cool. It was kind of got out of hand. Like we even said, like that was crazy. Like they're having, you had a jersey, toasted
Yeah,
Rav jersey.
yes,
That I mean, we're leaning into it. The marketing team. Shout out to the marketing team at STL City though. I mean, we've worked with them on countless occasions. I mean, they have a solid team. Their videographers are insane.
Yeah.
Their photographers are nuts.
Everyone I've worked with at the club has been awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I think the content team,
Yeah.
the match day people, everyone that runs match day too. You know, the experience I think for the fans is incredible
The music
too.
experience mastermind that does the music, like it gets
everything.
everybody involved, and that was one of the things that they did right. Was like, let's bring everybody in the city together.
Yeah.
Even if this is a food, I think of it as like an experience, and then you guys just happen to be running around on the field. At the same
And then
time.
they have
like, I'll
that,
just be
they
sitting
have
here
that
eating
little
and
block
drinking.
party before
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
Like I just think it's really been a
Well
home run
done.
for them, and I think
Metro Boomin. We were at the Metro Boomin concert. That
Yes.
was crazy.
Yeah.
Like just have Metro. I mean, he's from St. Louis, but to have him out at a
Yep.
party, like it's like it felt like a Super Bowl experience, like a
Yeah.
Super Bowl weekend. But I have
Right.
one more question, and then we can wrap up because I know we got
course.
baby. We got baby. Oh yeah, shout out to my friends at Four Hands. I forgot about it. But you have an event coming up October 1st. So you guys did. We didn't even talk about the beer. This dude is on a beer can,
Yeah,
and we didn't
yeah,
even
yeah.
talk about it. That's how much shit. That's how much stuff you're doing right now. We did the beer. So.
I mean, the beer has been awesome. It tastes good, which I was really nervous about because when they let me kind of put my twist on it,
Yeah.
I was really nervous that it wasn't going to taste good, but I like it a lot.
Okay.
And I had to drink it in front of the people at Four Hands, the first sip, so I was really
nervous.
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah.
You know, I was
of
nervous
course.
of this.
Because they
Like, I
worked
can't
really hard on
fake
it.
it.
They
I
worked,
can't
they
fake
worked
it.
really hard. Like we both like kind of put a lot of time and effort into it, and I was like, man, I hope this is good, and it's been a home run. You know,
What type is it?
it's a Pilsner.
Okay.
Parker Pilsner. So
like Pilsners.
it's been really, really good.
Yeah.
I've sent some back home to my buddies in New York.
That's good.
Cool.
They're collector cans
Yeah.
now for
So
sure.
like
Oh,
they've really enjoyed it. My dad, when he was in town, he like loaded up his RV with them.
That's cool.
So yeah, everyone that has gotten one has definitely really enjoyed it.
Love it.
That's
We're rooting
awesome.
for
So
it.
we'll see you guys at the event. We'll drop the info about the event on October 1st, but they're sold like all over town though. I mean,
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
been seeing them at like
So
places?
yeah, so I went into Dearborg's the other day for groceries, and I was just walking down the beer aisle, mainly to see if they were selling it.
Sure.
And they
Were you videoing? You were like, hey,
They
guys.
were, and I took a
It's
picture
me.
and sent it to Kelsey.
It's me.
That's fun.
But yeah, it is really cool.
It's your number
I
on the
love that.
can, but
Yes.
I was saying your face, but your number, same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's still like
You.
it's like a
You are the
jersey.
can.
It's like a jersey on there. We've been talking beforehand, so if you guys are still listening, we've been trying to get that STL Bucket List brew.
We want
for a
a
minute,
beer.
and you guys sponsor the podcast. Come on now, they know.
Marissa
There you
Luke
go.
beer. Yep.
But I had one more just to wrap up and kind of like, first of all, thank you for coming on. I think this was an incredible episode.
Yes.
I knew we were
No,
going
of
to talk
course.
about sports, but we really like to talk about the person.
Yeah.
And really just see, behind what people see on the field two or three nights a week. But being in St. Louis, like you've been in other cities and like you're here, you're like, an A-list celebrity. I know we talked about it a little bit. And like, I'm not saying like in other cities you wouldn't be, but you think of like an NFL player, like a quarterback, or like you're like a quarterback in this city of like that. So like, does that make you feel like, is that weird? Because now you're 9 years in. So like you were just used to the life before. And now it's like, now I'm here. It's like my career's like been revitalized almost.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel they're like revitalized in a lot of ways. I think I've also I'm not hiding from any spotlight. I think the red hair and the mullet is kind of a little bit of a standout thing. But yeah, I think part of it is amazing. I think everything about it is so cool when, I'll be walking in the grocery store and someone just says like, "Go City," something as simple as that. And Kelsey's with me all the time. Obviously she can see it firsthand too, but it does make you feel, I don't know how to say it, but it just makes you feel very special, and I think the people of St. Louis have been, like I said off air before, like very respectful and like, like I said, they kind of just like say their two bits, like good game, something like that, go City, and then they're on their way instead of, because there have been experiences where if me and Kelsey are on a date night and we're eating dinner and people like want to stick around or like grab a picture and I'm
And like scoot a chair up
I'm
and
kind of
start
like
talking.
with my wife on date night,
they
right?
forget it's your time.
Yeah. But no, I mean, everyone here has been very respectful and amazing about the whole experience.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So appreciate you for coming on, man. I mean, if there's anything else, I mean, how people can support you, I guess just, let us know. But
No, thank you guys so much. I mean, obviously, the Parker Pilsner event on October 1st, that's going to be really cool at Forehand's new location in Chesterfield. I'm excited to see a lot of people there. I think
are you signing autographs that day too?
I'll be signing autographs, but also I'm going to make sure some of the team is there too. So
Oh, nice.
I'll make sure that they
You're a bartender
get some
too.
as
You
well.
did some guest bartending.
I did
before.
guest bartending.
Were you
at
shaking up some
the
drinks and
pitch?
stuff,
Yeah. I mean, well, the problem was,
Well, that might be your career then.
I
You're
invited
talking about business,
I
you'll
invited
work
the
at the bar.
team to that event, and they had me making like ridiculous drinks.
Like
So
you had like a list like this, and you
it
were
was
like
like
adding all
margarita, old
Took you, like,
fashioned,
35
and
minutes
I
to
was
make a
like,
drink.
guys, I don't need to be can you guys
No.
just order a beer from the
Simple.
tap? Like,
Simple.
you guys are
I'll
making
pour.
me mix stuff up over
Were they
here.
tipping you at least?
No, of course not. They were drinking for free that day.
Yeah.
You had the tab. They had the pitch, had the tab. But no, appreciate you coming on. We're gonna drop the episode out. But really, guys, I mean, to end it on a good note is really just like St. Louis supports our teams and we really support our people. But with the STL Bucket List show, we really just want to show that look inside the athlete. And it's really cool that you came on. But absolutely, thank you for coming on. We'll see you guys next week.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.